All right, we are back, and we are on chapter 2. So, I don't care how much power, brilliance, or energy you have, if you don't harness it and focus it on a specific target and hold it there, you're never going to accomplish as much as your ability warrants. Love me some Zig Ziglar. Great quote on trying to learn about Series 7. So here we go. We are heading through the next chapter. This chapter begins with an in-depth introduction into bonds in general. It continues by describing the differences between the three major types of bonds. Later, the specific details of corporate bonds are thoroughly covered. Got it. That's my phone over here is ringing in the background. Okay. Bonds are loans. When you buy a bond, you are lending money to an organization, whether it be a public corporation, the federal government, or a municipality. Bonds differ from common and preferred stock in that they do not represent an ownership interest. Instead, they represent a debt obligation of the issuing organization. Therefore, bonds are classified as debt securities. And the investor becomes a creditor who receives interest payments for lending their capital. Some basic facts about bonds. Bonds are loans that are made in increments of $1,000. There we go. I was trying to lower the screen and I ended up lowering the volume and the reason for that. Okay. Facts about bonds. Bonds are loans that are made in increments of $1,000. This is why we say that the par value or principal of a bond is $1,000. The interest rate of a bond is referred to as the coupon rate or just coupon, and is a predetermined fixed rate that is a percentage of the par value of the bond. Interest on bonds are paid semi-annually, so twice a year, and a coupon rate of 8% means an investor will be paid $80 per thousand in interest per year in two $40 payments per year semi-annual payments. So, coupon bonds are quoted in points. So 1 point is equal to $10. Therefore, a corporate bond at 98.5 is selling at 98 times 10 is $980, and a half times 10 is $5, so $985. The maturity date is the date the loan or bond comes due for repayment to the investor. The principal, $1,000, is generally repaid to the investor on the maturity date. So bonds traded at a discount, a par, and a premium. A discount is the bond's market price is less than par value, so it's less than $1,000. At par, it's traded at $1,000, and at premium, the bond price is more than par value of $1,000. So premium is more, discount is less, par is at. The following terms describe how an issuer might structure its bond debt. These factors take into consideration when the money is needed and when they will be able to or want to retire the bond issue. Series bonds have different issue dates and usually have the same term maturity date, frequently used in projects which are performed in various stages. Term bonds is an entire issue of bonds that all have the same maturity date. Sinking fund is a sinking fund that represents money set aside to redeem the company's bond or debentures. The establishment of and payments to a sinking fund may be a mandatory debt retirement provision of a bond indenture. This feature adds to the safety of a bond issue but reduces the yield of the bond. It is frequently used for term bond issues where the entire issue matures at once, but not on a series bond where issues with staggered maturities. Sinking fund provisions can be used for bond issues as well as preferred stock issues. Serial bonds are issues of bonds that have one issue date and staggered maturity dates scheduled at regular intervals until the issue is paid in full. Since serial bonds have varying maturities, interest costs to the issuer would progressively go down over the life of the bonds. As the shorter maturity bonds were retired, fewer outstanding bonds means progressively less interest costs over the life of the entire issue. Balloon maturity is a term that describes a bond issue with a large amount of the issue that comes due at or near the final maturity date. Funded debt. This term describes corporate debt that is due more than 1 year from the issue date and includes corporate bonds, notes, and bank loans. Funded debt does not include preferred stock, government bonds, or municipal bonds. The following term describe the forms in which bonds are issued today and have been issued in the past. There's registered bonds. These bonds are registered in the investor's name, and interest payments are sent directly to the investor by the corporation's paying agent. All bonds are currently issued as registered. Interest is paid directly to the investor. Principal is sent directly to the owner at maturity. If an investor decides to sell a registered bond, the investor would be required to sign the back of the registered certificate and deliver it to the broker-dealer. A bearer bond are not registered in the investor's name and have interest coupons attached. To receive interest payments, the investor must clip the coupon and present them to an authorized paying agent, usually a bank. Bonds are no longer issued in this form. Registered as a principal only. These bonds are registered in the investor's name with interest coupons attached. To receive interest payments, the investor must clip the coupon and present them to an authorized paying agent, usually a bank. Bonds are no longer issued in this form. Most bonds are held in book entry form, and ownership is represented electronically. Bonds are rated by credit rating companies including Standard & Poor's, Moody's, and Fitch. Standard & Poor's bond rating is AAA highest grade, AA high grade, A is upper medium grade, and BBB is medium grade. BB is lower medium grade, B is speculative, CCC is outright speculation, CC is outright speculation, C is reserved for income bonds, no interest bearing paid, DDD is in default with rating indicated little chance of recovery, and DD is relative salvage value. Nice. Note, AM, best is not a bond rating. AM best rates insurance companies. There are 3 basic categories of bonds, and they are corporate, government, municipal. Key differences in types of bonds. Corporate, issuer, tax. Wow, that didn't give me any information. Okay. Coupon rates versus yield. Remember that the coupon rate on a bond is a fixed rate of interest that is paid to investors. However, the amount you actually get to put in your pocket can differ from the coupon rate. The actual rate of return which an investor receives is referred to as the bond's yield, which takes into account the purchase price, interest payments, and redemption value of the bond. The coupon is fixed rate. The coupon is the fixed rate and is calculated as a percentage of the par value of the bond. The yield is the rate of return that the investor receives based on the price paid for the bond. The effects of bonds purchase price on the yield is a bond with an 8% coupon rate maturing in 10 years is $80 per year in interest and 2 semi-payments of $40. Nominal yield equals coupon or interest rate on the face of the bond. Current yield equals annual interest divided by market price. For example, an investor purchases a 9% bond at 90. The current yield is it's 0.09 times or divided by 90. So 0.09 divided by 90 is 1%. Right? No. Less than 1%. 1 of 10%, I think. Oh wait, at 90 is times, we have to times 90 times 1,000. Coupon rate 8% means the investor will be paid $80 per year so 5%. But it's at 90. I don't understand the 90 part. Let's go back to it and read it again. So it's 1,000 divided by 0.09 equals, well, no. 0.09 divided by 1,000. No, that's not right. 0.09 times 1,000. There we go. So it's $90 a year. Current yield is annual interest divided by market price. I guess it would be 1% because then it's divided by 90. $90 divided by 90, that's 1. Not sure. We'll continue and then keep going. So, yield to maturity or basis. The yield to maturity is the long-term yield on a bond that is expressed as an annual rate. It takes into account the purchase price, redemption value, coupon rate, and time to maturity. The primary difference between current yield and yield to maturity is that yield to maturity considers time remaining until maturity. The time value of money and the current yield does not. So yield to maturity considers the time remaining to maturity and the current yield. Man, all these things are freaking blank. This is so irritating. No, not these. All right. When the market price of a bond goes down, the yield to maturity goes up. When the market price of a bond goes up, the yield to maturity goes down. Both preferred stock and bonds are fixed income securities. Therefore, their market prices are sensitive to the interest rate movements. Their market prices move in the opposite direction to interest rates. Inverse reaction means that as interest rates goes up, the price of outstanding bonds will fall, and that as interest rates go down, the price of outstanding bonds will rise. So bond at discount, the coupon rate, interest rates go down. Interest rates go up, it's at a discount. So the bond goes down, the interest rates go up. This one stays the same. So changes in yields are measured in basis points. A basis point on a bond is equal to 1/100th of a point. So basis points are now 1/100th of a point of 1,000 of the par value. Okay. So a change of 1% in the yield of a bond is equal to 100 basis points. So bonds trading at a discount will always have a basis of yield to maturity, which is higher than the coupon rate. Bonds trading at premium will always have bases, yield to maturity, which is lower than the coupon rate. Bonds trading at par will always have a basis, which is the same. So if a bond has a coupon rate of 8% and a basis of 7, it is trading at let's do a little math here. So it's always 1/100th of a point. So the bond rate is 8%. So 0.08 times 1,000 is 80. And a basis of 7%, which is 0.0007. Yeah. So now $80. So 0.0007 times 1,000 is 70.70. If a bond has a coupon rate of 8 and a basis of, it is trading at, let's see what the answer is. I'm not sure how to do the math. So we are on page 2930. Oh, here's all of the stuff to fill out. That's kind of important. I guess we would get this off of the video maybe. Moving along. Oh, it's trading at premium or discount. Well, that's obvious because if the bond is at 8% and the basis is higher, then it's trading at premium. And then if the coupon rate is like up here, the bond price is 8.5%. No. The bond price, the coupon rate is at 8%, and the base is at 9%. It's over here. Because the coupon rate, we just set it over here. Let's do it one more time. Oh, it's not on this page. The bond is purchased for less than the par. Then it is a discount. $29. Current yield is 90, so annual interest is 9% times 1,000 divided by market value. Oh, it's 90% of 1,000. It's 90 of 100, so it's 90%. So that makes sense. Okay. Got it. So this answer here is 10%. So this is an investor purchases a 9% bond, which is 0.9 times 1,000, which comes out to $90 a year at 90 of the bond, and so now it's $900. So then you take $90 divided by 900, which equals the market yield, right? The current yield. The current yield on bond is 10%. Okay, makes sense. Alright, let's try this one more time. So we have $80. We know it's $80. And it's trading at 7% basis points. So basis points so this is the market value. It's trading at 70. So 1,000 times 0.07, no, 0.0007. There we go. Trading at trading at 70 cents. Okay. 70 cents. Man, what's the answer again? Oh, it's just premium. Yeah, still not getting it. Anyway, maybe somebody else gets it, but I'll keep reading. The longer the maturity of the bond, the more its price will decline when the interest goes up. Short-term bonds react the quickest to interest rate changes. Long-term bonds react the greatest to interest rate changes. Long-term bonds carry more risk than short-term bonds, and short-term bonds are considered to be safer and more stable than when ranking the safety on investments. Duration is a measure of the sensitivity of a bond's market price to changes in interest rates. Example, a bond with a duration of 5 will have a price movement of 5% for every 1% movement in the interest rate. In bond trading, M is the Roman numeral for 1,000 and is used to signify the dollar value of the quantity of bonds. So 5M would signify 5,000 worth of bonds. Remember that it does not stand for 5,000 bonds. Each is worth $1,000. So 5M. Got it. Accrued interest is the amount of interest that has built up since the issuer last made an interest payment and the last time the investor buys the bond. When an investor purchases a bond, they pay the current market price plus accrued interest. Accrued interest is calculated on the 30-day month, 360-day year, and is paid up to but not including settlement date. The settlement date is 2 business days after the trade date. Calculating accrued interest. When calculating accrued interest, it is important to remember that issuers normally make interest payments on the 1st and the 15th of the month. If the last interest payment was made on the 1st of the month, you would add 30 days of remaining interest for the month. 15th of the month, you would add 16 days of the remaining interest on that month. Interest paid. Interest paid last December 15th, and the trade date is Monday, March 12th. So December is 16 days. January is full 30, February is 30, and March is the close of the 12, so 13 days. All right, interest paid last March 15th, so we have, again, March 16, April 30, so let's just add this up. So 16 plus 30, so we have March, April, and then June 10th, close of the 10th is the 11th, so plus 11. So 57 days. And then interest paid on June 1st, trade date August. So June is 30 days. July is 30 days. And August is 12 days. So 72 pay days. Oof. Let's see if I'm right. Scroll down a bit. No, I'm wrong. I'm wrong. The math is wrong. 16, 30, 30, 11. Did I just miss a month somewhere? Interest paid on June 1st is 30 days. 30 days. Why is it 14 days? Oh, if it's on the 11th, it's paid out on the 15th days anyway. Why is this one 11 days, but the other one is... Did I miss something on here? Yeah, that didn't explain how that worked out, so... Another key fact to remember about accrued interest is accrued interest is not a reason to do a corporate or municipal bond swap. Accrued interest appears on both the buyer and the seller's confirmation and is added to the amount and the buyer pays, and added to the amount the seller receives. Accrued interest paid by the purchaser of a bond is not included in the cost basis of the bond. Instead, the accrued interest, which is paid to the seller, is deducted from the interest received on the bond by the new owner when calculating the taxable net interest received. For example, an 8% corporate bond pays interest on June 1st and December 1st. Interest on June 1st and December 1st. Okay. Mr. Smith buys a bond and pays the previous owner $15 in accrued interest. Later, he receives the semi-annual statement payment of $40. Mr. Smith will only be required to report $25 in interest for tax purposes because he paid back $15. Okay. Don't almost understand that transaction, but let's keep going. This is a long chapter. Sheesh. We have 69 pages, and we're at 56, so we have 13